You know, it doesn't matter, you can come up with something, he's got a joke for
She's
everything.
convinced it.
I really like it.
I did.
Did you? What'd she say?
We gotta get somebody that's kind of that. Might just stand up at all. Yeah, most people do.
Call the meeting of the Broad Valley Commissioner Board of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll open up with public comment. Any public comment? Al?
Yeah, I wanted to publicly thank the Broadwater County Commissioners. Last week, as most of you probably have heard by now, the District Court, Judge Dana Christensen issued his ruling on the Johnny Crow project. That's a project the Forest Service did. That project was litigated. And last week he issued a decision in support of the Forest Service and denying the plaintiff's request in that lawsuit. The reason it's important, I think, to acknowledge you guys is that in August of 2017, after that lawsuit was filed, you guys made an application to the Local Government Forestry Assistant Grant Program through the Coalition of Forest Counties for some money that allowed 8 separate groups to sign on to that lawsuit in support of the Forest Service as amicus parties. Now, you'll never see it in the judge's decision what kind of support they see and read into it, but if you read his decision, 51 pages of it, you can read in there the things that he talks about that I'm pretty sure are there in acknowledgement of the support that the Forest Service had in that lawsuit by all the parties that signed on. So, again, I just, on behalf of those 8 parties that signed on to that, and that includes the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Elkhorn Restoration Committee, who works in the Elkhorns, Broadwater County, Jefferson County, Marks Lumber, the Elkhorn Working Group, and other citizen group in the Elkhorns, the Broadwater Rod and Gun Club, and the Tri-County Fire Safe groups, all were the sign-on parties in the amicus brief filed in support of that Forest Service project. And that wouldn't have been possible had you guys not stepped forward and gotten that grant so that we could get that submitted in support of that project. So again, I and all those groups, we've been talking, and so we just wanted to make sure we pass it on to thank you for doing that. That's a big deal.
Thank you, Al. Any other public comment? Yeah?
Joan Potter, I really wish there was more people here today. I just wanted to let you know that I filed with our county, or I passed a complaint, renewing the complaint of the violations of the commission for due process of the citizens of Broadwater County. And I got it stamped and delivered to Corey's office, and I will be filing, or I will be dropping a copy off to our Sheriff Meehan here in a little bit. I hope he shows up. I've been kind of under the weather, so I haven't been able to make a lot of the meetings. But I sure darn wish you guys would have them so that a lot of people of Broadwater County could be here to speak. Because I don't think that they're being represented at 10 o'clock in the morning when they're all at work. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? And we'll move on to the commissioner's update. Let's see, I attended the community strategy planning session at the, over at the ambulance building on Friday, the THS meeting. Also the Silos area MSU planning meeting at the school was very informational on some planning that the MSU architectural class had done for that facility, for the BOR and for the local Silos group. That's it.
I also attended the presentation by the landscape students for the silos. I thought that was excellent and a great partnership. Also the community strategy meeting, and had our quarterly meeting for Board of Crime Control last week. Also Youth Justice Council, and well, there are a few others in there that are skipping my mind, but those are the biggest.
I didn't attend any meeting this last go around, but I had many phone calls and many reports of people contacting me on various issues in the county.
We have minutes here of December 3rd, 2018.
I'll move to approve those as submitted, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion been made, second to approve minutes from December 3rd, 2018. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carried. Claims for the accounting period 12/18 in the amount of $25,295.30.
I'll move we pay those claims in the stated amount.
Second motion.
Motion's been made and second to pay claims in said amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carried. Payroll claims in the amount of $174,707.21.
I'll move to approve payroll in the amount of $174,774.21.
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carried. Claims in the amount of $163,589.61.
I'll move to pay the approved claims in the amount of $163,589.61.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to pay claims in said amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a real quick question. With the reduction in weekly meetings, is there any issues with the claims getting maybe behind because of timing and everything? with the process?
No, there's some claims that haven't been getting, processed through, but I don't think we have a problem with them because of meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Another set of claims in the amount of $21,135.39.
I'll move and pay those claims in the stated amount.
Second the motion.
Motion been made, second to pay claims and set amount, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries. Last set of claims in the amount of $33,074.57.
Move to pay the approved claims in the amount of $33,074.57.
I'll second.
Motion made, second to pay claims and set amount, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries. Let's see, some mail here, this is the Broadwater Hydroelectric FERC number 2853 relicensing pre-application document questionnaire. This has to do with the Toston Dam project.
Just for information.
Yeah, it's just an informational question for relicensing of the license. That license expires January 30th, 2024.
We should certainly answer that, so that if there are any issues
Yeah.
outstanding.
The attached form DNRC is requesting you provide contact information for any parties that are interested in participating in the licensing along with any relevant information you may have to contribute to the PAD. To help ensure that your relevant information and resources are available for inclusion in PAD, please fill out the attached PAD questionnaire and contact information form and return to HDR via email at dnrcbroadwater@hdrinc.com or in the enclosed self-addressed envelope. A letter from Riverside Contracting Incorporated for a public notice of an open cut mining permit located right at Highway 287 near mile marker 89. Site and other permit documents may be viewed at http search opencutspermitsmontana.gov.
That's the gravel pit there at Toston's. Riverside has for about 3 years now. The last road project.
DEQ public notice for the City of Whitefish water treatment plant. letter from Opportunity Bank Montana, the merger of 4 Montana banks, the branch Big Muddy Bank Corporation with Opportunity Bank of Montana becomes official January 1st. This event joins local banks to share a commitment to serve the Montana communities. Okay, that's it from there. We'll move on to the COS. Do you have the COS printed up?
I do. This is a parcel for the Table Mountain Ranch Corporation down south. What it was is they owned a big chunk here, and Highway 287 came, the deeded highway, and it cut this portion off. So it's not really an exemption, it's a tract of record because it's been divided from its parent tract. Bringing it forward anyways.
All right.
As
so
we call it a divorce tract, the terminology, because it's been divorced from its original parcel by a deeded highway. They can't be created by any just right of way or easement, it has to be a deeded right of way, which are usually highways and interstates.
And how many acres is that, just out of curiosity?
It's 1.49.
Okay.
And there's an exemption on here that nothing with sewer or water could be put on it until they went through a DEP process.
Okay. All
So they
right.
couldn't sell it for a house or residence until they went through the state.
All right, well, I will move to approve, or support the divorce tract as presented. That is a deed of record, divorced from the parent parcel by the highway.
Also,
Motion been made, and seconded to approve the divorce tract as proposed. Is there any discussion? No discussion, take a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
So the highway went in some time ago. Was this just noticed or just something that they've known about that now
Right,
just move
yeah,
forward
just
on?
clearing the deeds up and stuff, because the deed is for all of it, but the highway goes through and
Okay.
cuts things up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is this hospital loan change agreement. This is a agreement between the bank, Broadwater County, and the THS, that the loan that the county had secured for THS, the THS took over the payments, and then they wanted to split the payment. The bank has agreed. Original payment was $64,043.25. The payment of $33,000 has been made on October 1st of 2018. The remainder of the balance will be paid on March 1st of 2019, which requires the county's signature on the loan.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is not a new loan, it's an existing loan, just splitting up, just delaying half of the final payment of $34,000 by a couple of months, correct?
Yes.
is that the original, that $400,000 loan? It must be.
Yes. The original amount of the $400,000 loan.
Yeah, that was between the county and the state bank, and then
Yeah.
they turned the money over to the hospital.
As this isn't a new loan, I'll move to okay the split agreement, that last payment.
Is there a second?
That's okay with me. They should just split it last year.
This is
In
the
fact,
same
that
one.
was supposed to
This
have
is
been
the
due.
same one.
Yeah,
This
it was
is
supposed to
the
have
same
been due
one.
last year.
No, this is the payment that they split in October. That was the one that was split. It was supposed to be due in October. They split it and paid half of it in October, the other one's due in April.
Well, originally, I think it was due in 5 years. That, well, they're making the payment on it.
Any further discussion?
It's a deferred payment, right? They're just taking the 60,000, they split it in half, and they're just kind of deferring that 33 down to,
The final payment is due in April, yes.
in,
Yeah,
next year.
yeah.
And then that loan will be paid
And
off.
that loan is done, that's the final payment, yes.
Okay.
No other discussion?
Is there a reason why they had to defer it?
Jenny?
Just makes financial sense for the hospital right now. We don't pay their bills in December. November, December is a tough time to collect medical payments for the last ones to get paid.
Yeah, for
These
the
are
holidays.
yeah. So we just see a lower income those 2 months, so it just was.
Are they adding interest into that then, or is
Yeah,
that just?
it's 3%, so it's pretty low, but, so it's about 100, well,
It's
it's
still
only 30,
your-
it's about 80, it's $86 a month in interest. So we'll make the final payment March 1st.
Of the 33, or
Yes.
you'll be,
33. We already made 33, so we'll have the last 31 March 1st.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Requires another signature.
Yeah, it looks like it, unless you want to sign twice.
No.
And looks like one more.
We can move on to Bill Lane, Toston Croker Community Center Tax Relief Request.
What we got here on this tax bill, we got a tax statement, and the community center is a nonprofit corporation, never received a tax statement before, and should never receive one as far as that goes. So I called the state, and why didn't we get a tax notice here? Well, what they told me was that the legislature passed a law that all the nonprofits had to fill out some paperwork, said that I had received a letter, and I said, no, I don't think so. And looking back on that, I can see they can't even get the name of the community center correct. And the address they have on the tax statement is general delivery. And I make corporate reports every year, and they have that information. Correct name is Toston Croker Community Center, and I'm the registered agent. So what we're asking for, well, I said, now can you drop those taxes for us? And they said, no, we can't do that. That'd be up to the county commissioners. So that's what we're asking for. Take these taxes off. And if I would be able to fill out some paperwork now for future exemptions, which I have, but I haven't filled it out yet. It's too late to do it for 2018, but it would be from next 19 on. That's about it now. If they would just look and see corporation, how it's set up, so there should never be taxes on it. And the other thing is, we got a waste charge on there. Which I'd like to see that taken off because it doesn't generate any garbage at all. In fact, it's just pretty much not being used. So there is never any garbage generated by the community center. So, if you have any questions, I'll see if I can answer them.
I'd just like to add a little bit, something people don't know what this is. It was a Methodist church in Toston, and years ago they quit having services there, just had them here in Townsend, and that's when they turned it over to the Toston Crow Creek Community Center. I think it was in the '70s, early '70s, I believe. And there'd been potluck dinners there, weddings and funerals and things like that through the years. But the last probably 8 years, there hasn't been anything, I don't think.
Been a long time.
That funeral was the last one, I think.
Every year I fill out the corporate report, so the state knows that it's a.
Yeah. I got a copy of that, that you filled it out.
It's not abandoned or closed or anything like that. I have a copy there of the corporate report there that I made last year. I make them every year.
Also, there's no water or sewer on this.
No, that, they're a little crazy with the amount of money they think it's worth, tax-wise, but that's not in question right now.
What are your plans for the building?
Pardon me?
What are your plans for the building?
Well, that would be up to the community center group, pretty much inactive right now, so I really don't have any plans. I don't know of any plans. The other thing is about the building, it's in really bad condition. Wooden foundation, and that's the only way it's rotten. The building is in really bad shape. This wood foundation is rotting and the building is starting to sag, and it's really not usable.
So would you, for future plans, would you just have it torn down, or do you want a historical
Well-
site? Is it a historical site?
Well, we haven't,
It's
we
kinda
don't
sounds
have
like
a
it's
plan.
not, yeah, it's
Don't
not
have a plan.
inhabitable.
Pardon me?
It kinda sounds like it's, not inhabitable, not usable.
Well, it's in really bad shape.
So why keep it open?
Well, that would be up to the community center group, There's been no decision made on that, no decision on what the maintenance might be. There's no money to pay for,
Right.
like, you would need a new foundation if you're gonna save the building.
How many people you got there using it, when they
Well,
do
it's not
use
being
it?
used right now, but,
It would, yeah, it's uninhabitable.
well, yeah, there's no water or sewer in there, nobody can live in there.
What's it costing for taxes instead of keep it open? You said they, you have.
There should
well, you
not be
have
any
to-
tax, it's a nonprofit.
What'd they charge you for this year?
Right at $800.
$784 with the solid waste on it.
Is there a way you can fight that?
Well, that's why I called the state,
I
they
mean,
said,
yeah,
yeah,
besides
they won't do
here.
anything about it because they said it's too late, because they didn't do this paperwork. The legislature passed this rule that all the nonprofits had to do this paperwork. Well, I never got a notice. And they said, yeah, you didn't. I said, no, that argument just ended that way. I didn't get a notice. And I'm not surprised because they haven't even got the name right on the tax
Right.
statement. And they don't have the address. All they have to do is look and see where they've been filing the corporate reports. They'd have my name as the registered agent and my address, which I never got that. If I would've got that, I would've filled it out, so we wouldn't be looking at this tax statement.
Is there anything we can do as citizens to help you out?
No, we're
Besides
asking the county
commissioners?
commissioners. The state told me that the county commissioners could drop the taxes, so that's what we're asking for, just do away with the taxes.
And then
It's a nonprofit, always has been.
Do you have the paperwork so that this, to get to
I
refile
received
for
the
19?
paperwork, yeah, to apply for the tax exemption.
Mr. Chairman, may I also ask a question?
Yes.
Bill, you said it's a nonprofit, you guys have a 501c3 filed?
Yeah, every year I file a report.
Okay.
And, Mike has a copy there that last year, I file every year.
All right. This is, you're not alone, this is also hitting the Raidersburg Church. And we do have MCA that actually gives us the ability to to do what you're asking. It's 1524-1701. But it looks like, Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, but 1524-1702 says we have to go through the resolution process in order to, we can give you the verbal today, but we have to do a resolution to actually make this official, and advise the governor's office and the Department of Revenue of what we plan to do. So, it looks like you do comply with 1524-1701, so I think this is a good thing, help you guys out, and to waive these taxes. I'm not ready to make an motion until you guys have weighed in.
I'm good with that, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then how about this? I move that we give you the verbal, that yes, we will waive these taxes on the property you've presented, and that we will go ahead and do our side of this and make it official through the resolution as required in
Thank
1524-1702.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to give a verbal to the Toston Croker Community Center to forgive these taxes for 2018. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries to make a resolution.
So do you want to just schedule that? Do you have another meeting in December? You don't? Do you want to schedule that for January? If I get copies of some of those documents, I can send you some specific things to include in the whereases in the resolution for going to the state.
Sounds good. Do you want the MCA too?
I wrote down.
Okay. And you know what, I'm gonna throw this on too. It's just the email from Department of Revenue
Okay.
that shared the MCA with us.
If you want, Dan, I can just come get copies of that later this week from you.
Sure.
You know, I do have one other question on the solid waste. How do we adjust that, or
Yeah.
how do we take care of that? I mean, we're being charged $128 and never generates any garbage that's not being used, so I don't see why we should be paying it. So how would we take care of that?
That's probably a question for the board. They should
We'll
have a
probably just,
policy on
we'll
that.
bring it, we'll have Mary bring it up at the solid waste board to see what we have to do.
All right, I'll see you then.
Should be able just if we're not gonna have the taxes, we wouldn't send out the assessment.
I don't know.
Okay.
Now,
Let's see. Have a letter from DEQ for the fiscal year 2019 County Motor Vehicle Graveyard Grant for Broadwater County Junk Vehicle Graveyard Town. Thank you for submitting your fiscal year 2019 grant processes with the itemized account form for fiscal year 2018. I reviewed the budget, itemized accounting breakdown, and approved them as submitted. Enclosed is one vendor invoice, $13,491.80. This payment equals the full grant of $13,491.80 for fiscal year 2019. Please have the commissioners sign the vendor invoice and return it. As soon as the invoice is received, the funding will be processed. During fiscal year 2018, according to your motor vehicle graveyard log sheet, your program hauled 2 vehicles. If you have any questions or further assistance, please feel free to contact me at 406-444-3493 or email me at ashley@astaley@butemontana.gov. Sincerely, Andrea Staley. Is there a motion to sign this?
I will so move.
I'll second it.
It's a good program.
Move's been made and seconded to sign the vendor's invoice for junk vehicle payable. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Southern mail items here, Rural Montana Magazine, Shape Up Montana, and Attention Montana Water Users. Commissioner's office. Let's see. Next agenda item was for 11 a.m., the Public Health WIC program concerns and plans decision. WIC personnel have requested that we schedule that for a closed door meeting at 2:15.
Any decisions we make, we'll have to reopen and make public. So I guess what I would ask, Mr. Chairman, is that we just postpone the Public Health WIC program concerns and plan decision per our agenda, which says these items and times are subject to change. Just slide that to after our discussion with the personnel.
Okay. So we will move the discussion, or the decision about the WIC program until after the closed door at 2:15.
Mr. Chairman, I won't be available. I have an appointment.
Okay.
The afternoon I was free, so I had this appointment made.
Is there any other questions, any other items before the
Did you
commission?
want me to come to the WIC deal? You had sent me some documents on that last week, Laura.
Yeah, I would say yes, please, and if it gets into personnel, then we'll change it at that point.
Okay.
The reason is some of the clients are protected, and so it's by HIPAA, so it's their privacy that we have to be aware of. So, yes, please.
So that'll be at what?
Do you wanna go
2:30?
through,
2:15 is what it's
do you
scheduled
wanna
for.
go through these documents real quick?
I think I have. I think they're the ones that
Okay,
Commissioner Robert
okay.
gave me last week. Are they the same ones?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Was there anything else to come before the commission then?
I have two things, Mike.
Yes. Tim?
Just, this question's been asked several times before, I just got a quick question. When was this, agenda revised?
It was put out Thursday morning.
Okay, because most of the people that are getting some of the agenda items via email, that are on the list from Michelle, are not knowing about these changes.
Are you on the list from Michelle to get the agendas?
I am,
Okay.
haven't been getting some here lately, but, maybe there's a mix-up in the email, but, a lot of times, Mr. Chairman, it appears that the agenda gets changed and gets posted here at the courthouse, but the email notices sometimes don't get
Okay,
changed.
it's posted at the courthouse, the post office, and the library.
And again, a lot of people are kind of dependent on the electronic technology that we have today, and so they're not knowing things are changing.
Okay.
And then the agenda is a bit wondering what's up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We will attempt to get all of them, the revised out on Thursday in an email, whatever we revise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Mike, one of the things we forgot to add to our list of things that we did is Mike and I both attended the MACO training for newly elected, local government officials, and we attended with Daryl. And from where I sit, I thought it was an excellent week, and I want to thank both of you for the time spent. I really appreciate it. And actually left that training feeling energized and excited. So thanks both of you. And then the other thing I have is business. Here's a redraft of the letter we talked about at our last meeting for MDT. And that is to request the attention to our road from Townsend, from the bridge to the 4-lane, just 1 mile south of the silos, for 4-lane or 5-lane construction. This came up at the Elkhorn, the Restoration Committee meeting as well as the Community Development meeting that we had last week. It's on a lot of people's minds.
So this is a letter to the Montana Department of Transportation. Dear Mr. Ebert, the 4 and 5 lane traffic areas constructed on Highway 287 at Downey saved lives. We will never know how many. But the 2 lane stretch from Townsend north to Silos and in the Winston area remain a hazard that's hurting and killing people. There are over 40 pullouts, roads, or public land access points between the bridge north of Townsend and the 5 lane 1 mile south of Silos Road. The stretch of Highway 287 is heavily traveled, especially in the summer months and during legislative sessions. Since our last letter dated February 9, 2017, there have been numerous horrific accidents that resulted in major injuries and another fatality. Highway 287 is dangerous, and that danger is only increasing. Please consider this request on behalf of Broadwater County citizens and all travelers on Highway 287. So is there a motion to sign this, or we've already signed it?
We agreed to work on it. I will move that we sign this letter if there are no edits or suggestions.
I have no suggestions.
Sounds okay to me.
I have a question. One of the things that, and I know that we keep doing this, and I know they've got some priority list of where we are. It might make sense also to pursue it in cooperation with Jefferson and Lewis and Clark counties. Because if that stretch from, if you look at the stretch from Winston north to Helen, there have been 8 fatalities since end of 2013, in which it was 2 vehicles involved. So like some of these fatalities are a single vehicle drunk driver. There was one down by Silos this last year. But that particular stretch is really north of the Lazy HM. That one curve is dangerous because it's a very long curve, and it's 2 lane, and it's hard to perceive where oncoming traffic is. And there's been a fatality there. There's been 5. There's been 5. And so what happens there is when you have 2 vehicles, if any of them have a malfunction or they're in the wrong spot, you have 2 problems. One, you have a perception problem from the oncoming driver, and then second, you have a lack of room. And the other thing that happens is because there's a very long stretch of 2 lanes there, you usually have a lot of traffic that is close together. If you have a slow vehicle, you'll have a whole bunch of cars that are close behind them that are in an increased danger. And then in particular, the one we had a year ago, that was the case. And so obviously I support this, I'm sure the sheriff does, but a thought is, because that stretch goes from Broadwater briefly through Jefferson and then into Lewis and Clark, that it might make sense that we look at another ask from all 3 counties together for that stretch, because the way that it's designed is, I think, uniquely dangerous. And in particular, just the way that the traffic flows in off of that Spokane Hills Road, goes in and out, and then you have that lots of residences in the Lazy HM area, it seems to somehow bottleneck the traffic a little more dangerously north of Winston than we've seen in other places. Obviously, that other spot is just past Winston where those willows are, but that's more of a weather-related deal. That's that stretch that has the most ice because it's blowing off of those fields nearby on the west that are slightly elevated, and so there's a lot more weather coming across that stretch of the road, a lot more ice, a lot of single vehicle off the road for weather problems and during storms. But those are my thoughts. Wynn knows this way better than I do. Do you want to add anything?
No, I'm way supportive, if we could get anything, but I would say there's a lot of emphasis on what is being said about north of Lazy HM. But as Chairman Delger and I have discussed numerous times, that stretch from our river bridge to the silos, with the growth that's out there, the people building houses, we're gonna have a horrific accident one day, and we're gonna lose people, and I don't wanna see that.
Yeah.
If they could, if I was gonna say that would be the #1 priority, would be to fix that stretch right there. That 71 to 76. That stretch and then second being that stretch from Lazy HM into East Helena.
So is that their letter addresses your first?
I think it does, and I'd be, if you guys want me, I will more than happy sign off on that. I think it's a huge thing that, to protect our citizens, something needs to be
And
done.
it's
So,
not gonna go down, it's only gonna go up.
After the community meeting last week, we talked about this as well, and we thought it would be a better strategy to, instead of having multiple people sign on to one letter, this was gonna be an email later today, but if your office could send a letter in a week or 10 days, and then BCDC is gonna send a letter a week or 10 days after that, MBAC's gonna send a letter a week or 10 days after that, hopefully the chamber will send a letter a week to 10 days after that, the hospital, the school, and I'm missing somebody
Could we
who's
ask the
part of
city
this
council to
team.
do it? City council?
Yeah, that was the other one, thank you. So, yeah, we figure if we could have continual hits coming from this one community, that it might have a bigger bang than one letter with multiple signatures.
send me the email, I'll be more than happy to do it.
Perfect, all right.
So,
You'll look forward
that's,
to
it is, there's no turn lanes, there's nothing, and,
right,
I mean, you try to get on Antelope Road at 5 o'clock at night, you're, good luck. And that's where the problems are arising out there, and I don't wanna lose any more people, that's for sure. So, whatever I can do, let me know, I'd be more than happy to jump in on that. So,
I don't know if you heard it in the letter, but there's 40 driveways, roads, pullouts in that 5-mile stretch.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's, in the people, we've seen it, especially at Lakeview Manor. I mean, that one gentleman that got hit out there, I don't know how the heck he survived it, you know, Lord was on his side that day, but, I mean, there's been some horrific crashes out there, and we've gotten very lucky, and people have gotten very lucky, so.
yeah.
Tim?
Mr. Chairman, Tim Ravendall, resident of White Horse Road, and I've been dealing with this issue for over 20 years myself. My family and myself have had very many close calls at White Horse Road getting onto the highway or turning off of the highway because of one of the things that I didn't hear addressed with Montana Department of Transportation is it is illegal to pass on the right-hand side, even though there's a no passing zone at White Horse Road and these other places. These vehicles can pass on the right-hand side as long as they stay on the hard surface. And so what we're having with many close calls is people are flying down the highway at 70 miles an hour. I got a turn signal on to turn left off of the highway in a no passing zone, and people are coming up. They got really not too much choice but to try to go on the right because of oncoming traffic. And what we're having is we're having close calls. White Horse Road has had several accidents right there because of some of the same things. And so one of the things I think we need to do as a community and the county is to look real close at trying to get something done legislatively if we have to, with the county behind it, to make a change to where, hey, if that line is solid, you shouldn't be passing on the right-hand side. It's dangerous. Because I've seen people go over, get pulled off the road down the shoulder, down the ditch. It's not safe. There's not enough room on a 2-lane highway. So, I mean, you know, adding more lanes is awesome, and turn lanes, that's fine, but right now, until that happens, we still got a big dangerous thing going on.
Yeah.
I'd like to have our county officials take a look at helping make something happen there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mike, and I would,
Yeah.
I know, we had that discussion with Senator Sales here, I don't remember what it was. But I know he has gone and had follow-up conversations with some of the folks that we had issues with. So I don't know if we maybe reach out to him and see if he's had any conversations with anybody from MDT. But
Okay.
I do know he did go and talk to the colonel about our issues with the lack of patrol. And so, you know, maybe that might be something that he's setting some foundation on as well. I just don't know, so.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and sign this letter and get it in the mail then.
Sounds good.
Thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
So if there's nothing else to be brought in front of the commission, then we will recess until after the closed door at 2:15 with the WIC personnel.
Do you need me for this one? Do you need me for this?
The one at 2:15? Just for the WIC part.
Or else I'll send you a note for you to correct it.
Go ahead.